Which one will you choose, win or lose?
Hello and welcome to Flappity Flap Podcast with your hosts Brandon and Sarah.
Hello, my name's Brandon.
And my name's Sarah. Don't forget it. So we just finished
You
watching...
can forget it.
We just finished watching episode 1 of The Last of Us.
Yes, it just came out at 6 p.m.
Yeah,
on
like we were
our
waiting
time.
till... Well, okay, one of us was really antsy. Because they kept promoting it and saying it was going to come out on the 15th. And I was like, okay. Because when Netflix was promoting The Pale Blue Eye, it came out I think midnight the day of, period.
Yeah.
Whereas The Last of Us, when it got to today and I went to go play it, it was like, oh, releasing at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, great. I have to wait hours till 6 our time. So went off and did stuff, ate dinner. And then at 5:59, I was sat in front of the TV waiting for 6 to hit so we could watch it.
Yeah.
That's how excited I have been. And also, apprehensive that they were going to fuck it up like so many other adaptations. Like, I'm not even a super fan of Resident Evil Raccoon City, but I like it enough and just make a good show out of it.
Yeah.
Out of a really famous and popular franchise, and it just sucked.
Hollywood gets their hands on it.
But it sucked even harder
it.
than your typical Hollywood. I mean, they changed shit all over the place. It was inconsistent. It was just a train wreck. And just like with other video game franchises, but they really
I don't think anybody's failed quite so spectacularly as Mario though.
Depends.
The Mario movie with John Leguizamo and the one guy whose career it ruined.
Well, who was that?
Mario, whoever played Mario, I don't remember his name.
Oh, Bob Hoskins?
Yeah, didn't he say that movie ruined his career?
Maybe. I don't know. He was pretty famous in England, I think, before that. I think he had done, well, I don't know. I didn't think, maybe Who Framed Roger Rabbit was before that? I don't know. It was bad.
Yeah,
it was very bad.
I think it was.
So,
So we only know about this from watching Mark. I don't think we've played the game at all. We know from watching Markiplier.
Yeah, I watched it 2 or 3 times with Markiplier playing it. The first time we watched it like we were binging a show. Like we just watched it, I think over the space of 12 hours or something.
Yeah, it's so well written.
And watching someone play a video game is just, that's how good it was. What were you saying? You
so rarely get video games that are just really well written.
Yeah.
Like the new God of War, the cutscenes. I mean, it's just my opinion, but the cutscenes are just lacking. It's like they're trying to have this feeling of emotion and intensity, and
they're trying to make a movie.
Yeah, just make a game.
Yeah.
I remember the first God of War. I'm pretty sure it was just a game.
Yeah.
I think they had minimal cutscenes. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
None of this 8 hours of cinematics.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think we might have talked about this before. I might have cut it from another episode because it was boring, but I feel like the cutscenes in The Last of Us are furthering the story. They're filling in the gaps that you can't get from gameplay. And you still had just good gameplay.
And it's not even just gap filler. It's really good story.
Yeah. It's a really good story. And I didn't like zombie stuff for a long time because I just found it really disturbing. People being eaten alive and having their, people gnawing on their entrails and stuff. But I really loved that story. And I loved Mark's playthrough, and then I watched,
Jack,
at least listened to Jack play it while working usually. But yeah, I think I've watched Mark 2 or 3 times, and I love it. And I love the voice actors, and so I was very apprehensive about who they were going to get. I do love Pedro Pascal. I don't really know much about the Ellie character. I think her name is Bella Ramsey. And I was like, oh, she looks really different. I don't think she sounds like her.
Her voice is very similar.
But now, after watching it, I think if the person embodies the character so well, you kind of forget your attachment to how they sound exactly and how they look.
Yeah.
And you sort of become engrossed and attached to this new, I still love the game, but just her attitude is so great and funny and yet dark and, so we really liked it. I mean, I don't know. Now that we're talking about it and I've been wanting to watch it, I'm getting all shy.
Why are you shy?
I don't know. Because it's like when you have a bad show or movie, there's so much to talk about. There's so much to rip apart about why you don't like it. But with this show, I just feel like we could go through all the characters and the actors and the scenes and go, yeah, really great. Just nailed it. Bam. Move on to the next one. Awesome. Just, yeah.
Well, just, I think pretty much everything about it. Like, there's nothing.
It's only episode 1.
But still, there's nothing you can really pick out that's like, ooh. Because usually when watching a show, like we were watching Poirot the other day, and I have been enjoying all of the Poirots. Mm-hmm. It's an English murder detective.
Hercule Poirot, a little Belgian detective.
Yeah, he's a little Belgian detective, and it's great. But there was a recent episode, and the music was terrible, and the acting was so over the top and just weird and like cheesy.
Yeah.
And you can see it. But with this show, I mean, the music is nice. There's like nice subtlety. The camera work is so nice. The set design is nice. The acting is great. Like the story is great. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, part of that is they just captured the feel of the game, of the original game. They didn't, they like are following the lessons, it seems like, should have been learned by all the people who've come before them. We'll change it to be like this to appeal to this.
I don't think there's any learning. I think it's just good people already involved.
Yeah.
The people who are idiots who make crap out of things that are already established and good, they don't recognize why something was successful in the first place. They go, oh, let's just do mass appeal.
Right.
And then they ruin it.
I think that the creators of the show did talk about, being very aware of the following of the game. And not wanting to piss people off or betray the feel and the intent and the success and whatever the tone of the game. So I think they're aware of that because of so many that have gone wrong. But they just down to the music. I mean, the music is such a big part of it. The score itself, and then the use of the 80s music already being introduced. I didn't even super pay attention to that, except for I don't even remember Aha's Take On Me being involved in the first game so much as the second one. But I have to go back and watch the game now. You burping? Burping up a storm? Mm-hmm. But the guitar strumming and everything, and kind of especially the transition of the sad scenes, and oh my gosh, it just I'm just so happy. I'm so happy.
Yeah. Something to look forward to in the way of media.
Yeah. I'm just pissed that I have to wait a week for every new episode. I would really love to waste my life for however many hours the first season is and just binge it. I would totally just watch it all tonight, probably.
You don't want to do that. You want to take your time with it.
Yeah, but I don't know.
And that first episode was how long? Like an hour and 20 minutes? Hour and 30 minutes?
I don't even know. Okay, so the other thing is, if you don't have HBO Max, I don't know how much they charge for a subscription, because I didn't realize for however long having AT&T, whatever plan I'm on, that I get HBO with. I don't remember choosing that. I know I paid through the nose for our fucking cell phone plans. Mm-hmm. But so I was like, oh, I saw this thing about AT&T and HBO. I'm not just going to check to see if I have it. And by golly, I did. I do. But HBO has the worst lag problem. I didn't, knock on wood. We didn't have that tonight watching The Last of Us, but I was trying to watch The Batman, finally getting around to that. And then with Dune. With The Batman, it was horrible lag.
Which Batman was it?
The Batman. The one with Robert Pattinson, called The Batman.
Oh. I caught the tail end of that, and it looked good.
There was no lag. I just want to finish this thought, but I just think HBO needs to get its shit together, because I was getting pissed, and I was going to be like, if this show comes out, The Last of Us, and I have to deal with the lag that I'm dealing with The Batman and Dune, I'm going to burst a blood vessel. That's a hard phrase to say.
Is it? Burst a blood vessel?
Because I wanted to say blurst a blood vessel.
Well, that would be wrong.
In my head, that's how it was going to come out.
Yeah.
I corrected myself. I've also been detoxing on this food plan, not a diet, and my words are harder to come out of my mouth.
You're doing okay.
Yeah, just okay.
Yeah.
So HBO.
No, you're doing great.
I think we need to revolt if this continues, because again, if I'm not, what? I don't know how much the lag issue. I looked on Reddit, I Googled it, like it's the worst of all the platforms apparently, which in my very brief experience is the case. And that is ridiculous because they're raking it in. So revolt, people, revolt!
And do what? What do you want them to do?
I don't even know. Just like, as long as The Last of Us plays, I don't even super care. But yeah, I just think it's unacceptable, the lag. So that's what I've been dealing with. And
they've been around for a long time. There's not really any excuse for it.
Yeah,
you guys
even
have had how much time to hammer
long.
out those
Around? Yeah, pay a little more money for your servers or whatever. I don't even know how that shit works, but they do. Figure it out. Fucking figure it out. So I was going to go on Twitter and tweet at them, but then I was trying to find my personal login because I don't really want to be tweeting at them with the podcast Twitter just in case it goes wrong.
Why not?
I don't really want that to be a podcast issue. I want it to be just like a personal issue because I don't know, not that we're super not that we're big at all, but I don't want us to suffer the podcast from bad press.
Bad press.
Anyway, so do you want to break the show down at all? Do you you were getting really tense in the beginning. If you've watched it or watched it recently, you'll remember what happens to spoiler alert. Well, you'll just remember what happens in the beginning that kind of
in the game.
Yeah, that kind of forms Joel's character, the main character, throughout and kind of makes him harder and colder and a bit cut off. And Brandon was really tense, and I'm like, but you know what happens.
Well, I wasn't sure if they were going to change a little bit of stuff.
Yeah.
Because they had started out with a little bit of change.
Yeah.
And I was like, are they gonna fuck with us? Are they gonna mess with us, the viewer?
Yeah.
Because spoiler. This is gonna be a spoiler.
Yeah, just a few warnings, so it gives you a little time to jump up from where you were laying on the bed if your computer's across the room and hit pause or skip for spoilers.
It's not. I don't even know if it's going to be that much of a spoiler.
It's like one of the first things that happens.
But like, let me just say, because I don't even think you know what I'm talking about here.
I'm just giving them a time to pause before a spoiler.
The old lady in the background.
Yeah.
Who's like crickly crackling like a zombie, and the daughter is like focused on something in front of her. I don't remember what she's looking at.
She's looking at DVDs because she wants to borrow a DVD that Joel wants to watch.
Oh yeah. So she's looking at DVDs. And grandma's in the background, like opening her mouth and crickling and crackling. And I'm just like, oh.
And this is a quasi-vegetable old lady who's in a chair. And they're like, why do we even talk to her? She's like in her, probably has dementia or something. She's had like no movement or activity.
Yeah.
And then in the background, you see
her opening her
mouth and kind of like doing this stretch. And the girl's just oblivious. So this is Joel's daughter, Sarah, at the very beginning, who's like sweet and comes over and hangs out with the old people and bakes with the help lady. And yeah, it's like, oh my God, is this old lady gonna get up?
So that's why I was so tense. I was waiting for something different.
Yeah.
Because they were already a little bit hinting to something possibly different, but they did keep it fairly similar to the original game story.
I don't mind if you add stuff that kind of fills out, especially the development of this parasitic epidemic or whatever you call it, infection. It's a fungal infection. I don't remember if it's cordyceps in this game, but if you're just adding to it and you're adding this sense of danger for the daughter, I don't care if you're adding stuff like that if you don't change the basic trajectory, the fate of the daughter and everyone else. Like, you're just adding cool extra scenes and, the dog growling at the old lady and the girl not understanding. Like, they didn't change her outcome and how that happened.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. And it was well done. And you're watching it and you're like, this fucking old lady.
Well, and you got to think a lot of people who are going to watch this show have not played the game.
Or watched the game.
Or watched the gameplays, Let's Plays.
Yeah. I don't think I could play it. I'd be terrified. I'd be peeing my pants all the time. I'd be just sitting in a
all the time? Like more than once?
I'd pee, and then whatever additional fluids I drank would get through me, and then I'd pee again.
Gross.
Yeah.
Okay, so not
anyway,
allowed to play.
I'd like you to play, though, for your channel.
I could.
Gaming channel, BM Games. Do you think you could sit through?
Wow, you're plugging my channel.
Why wouldn't I?
I don't know.
I love your channel. I've already watched your stuff like 5 to 7 times a piece.
Holy shit.
You're my favorite new gamer.
Oh, thanks.
You're my new favorite gamer.
That works.
Yeah. Lost my train of thought. My train got derailed. Seriously, though. Seriously derailed. That's happening a lot.
Oh.
What was I going to say? You say something.
How?
Anyway, so I don't know if we want to like get into the storyline or just
Well, I think if you've seen the Let's Plays, I'm sure a lot of our listeners have seen the Let's Plays.
Yeah.
Or played it themselves.
Mm-hmm. If you're brave.
Yeah, if you can check the show out, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I'll just go through the cast. Pedro Pascal, who I first saw as Oberyn in Game of Thrones, and loved him. You know, thought he had like a Spanish kind of accent, but he doesn't. I think he might. Is he actually a Texan?
And isn't he the freaking what's his frick?
Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah, he's great. I don't super love where they went with the Mandalorian. I actually stopped watching. But I really like him. I haven't seen his brother in anything before. Oh, he's Chilean born. Okay. Okay, Joel Miller. His daughter Sarah. I've a lot of English actors in this already. Well, and by a lot, I mean like the main characters that you kind of see in the first episode. So Bella Ramsey plays Ellie, who's the girl he meets and, you know, has to try to take across the country. But I don't really want to get into that for those of you who haven't seen it or don't know the game, because really you should watch it. Like whether you watch Markiplier or Jacksepticeye or some other gamer or play it yourself, like, I mean, you don't need to watch it to enjoy the show, but I think you'll just love it. And then you'll want to see the show, and then the show will make you love it more. Let's see, Gabriel Luna, I don't know, that's his brother. Anna Torv, she plays Tess, who he kind of, that's kind of his girlfriend 20 years later after the initial kind of outbreak. And I think, she's Australian. She's the main character in Fringe. I always forget her name in the show. I want to go back and watch that show again. I do love that show. And then his daughter, Sarah, is English. And I don't see her name right here. But, and Nick Offerman is in this. I mean, he's not in the first episode. Let's see, who else? Oh, Nico Parker is the girl who plays, well, she's probably a woman now, who plays his daughter. And let's see. Oh, Ashley Johnson plays a character. Ashley Johnson voiced Ellie in the game. So I don't know who she's playing. Just a lot of people. Oh, yeah. So they have this beginning scene, which kind of reminds me of the scene in I Am Legend with Will Smith, which is a zombie outbreak and film. And Emma Thompson plays like a scientist, and she's being interviewed in the beginning. I think it's a fairly common thread to have that in these kind of movies. Mm-hmm. But they have John Hannah, who was the brother in The Mummy, the main character, Rachel Weisz's brother. And he is like a doctor, and they're being interviewed like in 1968 about parasitic fungi. Am I saying it right? They're just talking about epidemics. And he's like,
I think we say fungi, right?
I think the English maybe say fungi. I don't know. Fungi, whatever. Shrooms. And he's talking about how it would work because it already happens in the animal kingdom with insects. And it's just like...
Snails? Wait, no, that's worms.
Yeah, he's specifically talking about ants.
The ants have those.
And they get kind of eaten. Almost said eaten out.
Do they get eaten, or they climb up to like the highest branch and then a mushroom sprouts out of their back or head or whatever?
This one that he was talking about, he's like it eats the ant from the inside but fills it, I think, with its own material, the fungi. But I thought that was just a nice touch. That wasn't in the game either. And they're just, it very much feels like the 70s. And I just frick, man, just so well done.
Yeah.
It's just all so well done.
It is
so
very
atmospheric.
Well done. Yeah.
And you're just excited. I mean, at one point, after Ellie and Joel first meet, they're sassing each other because they're just kind of similar and stubborn. And she's grown up like an orphan and, has never known anything pre-epidemic. And he, of course, has lost people and is very hardened and just doesn't want to deal with any shit. He just wants to do his kind of contraband or smuggling with Tess and just be left alone. Mm-hmm. And he's got to take this girl across country who's got an attitude.
Well, the writer said, he lost his daughter at the beginning. Spoiler, I guess, of course. So he lost his daughter at the beginning, and then, he's sort of forced into this position where he has another young girl, like basically who was his daughter's age back then, to now have to be accountable for.
Right. And he doesn't want to feel that again. I think he's trying to wall that off, but they're trying to get outside of the perimeter fence or whatever.
Spoiler, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I tried to give a lot of spoiler. And there's a guard who he knows, who he's kind of been doing some shady deals with, who sees them, and he's basically like, you guys, this is a hanging offense, trying to sneak out. And he's aiming a gun at Ellie, and Joel is like triggered because he's remembering the night
his daughter got shot by a freaking guard.
Military guy,
by a military.
And he just attacks him, and he just pounds the shit, out of his face. And Ellie, in the background, you see her kind of like sidle up to look at him, and she's like kind of smiling,
looking all excited,
looking like, yeah, this guy, like, okay, he's gonna keep me safe. And also maybe a little bit sadistic, like, this guy was aiming a gun at me and now he's got his face bashed in. And it was just like, you're laughing, but you're also like, wow, this is pretty heavy and brutal. But also, fuck off, guy.
She's a little bit of a psycho, but yeah, fair enough.
But it's done in a way that's like funny too.
Yeah.
And she's just, I think, like a lot of kids that grow up without a stable family life, like they kind of say about foster kids, they don't have that, like, I think, empathy, or they haven't had a chance to like bond. And she does, like, you find out later, at least in the game, that she's had like friends, and like I think one particular friend who she lost, and so she's capable of making connections, but she's also just kind of a hard ass because she's kind of being thrown around, and her life's being threatened, and then she's locked up for days and just like done with the shit, you know. And it just makes for some laughs, like, so it's just got everything. I think even if you're not into the game, you will just love it as a show. I'm just sad if it means you have to sign up for HBO Max, because even though there's a fair amount of content, I think the lag is going to drive you crazy. But I hope you don't have that with this, because we didn't have it tonight, so I'm very happy.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're happy.
Yeah. That's all that matters. So I don't know. I didn't really think this through how we wanted to do. I just wanted to talk about it because it's so.
That's okay.
It's so good. Yeah. Do you have anything to add? Do you think you'll stick with it? Because we talked about this before. Brandon is very empathetic. I'm empathetic, but he's like really empathetic.
I think I'll watch it every time it comes out.
He gets sad for the red shirts in show, the Star Trek show kind of thing.
Come on now. I think knowing that it's gonna probably have the same trajectory as the game. Mm-hmm. I think I'll be fine watching it. It was just the beginning, not knowing, like, are they going to take it a different direction? Are they going to show the daughter getting, like, eaten or something?
Yeah, I don't
That's what
that.
I didn't want to see.
I don't want to see her get eaten, and I don't want to see her get infected.
I don't want to see a child get eaten.
Yeah.
It's just, too much. A little too much. So,
and
but luckily they only shot her.
Right.
I'm just joking.
But it's almost like
obviously.
You almost feel like, okay, they had to make him lose her. That was kind of just key to his development as a character.
It was brutal and sad.
But they spared her being infected or being eaten alive, in a really brutal, they don't want to desecrate a child.
She died in a pretty horrific way.
It was horrific.
Still. Shot in the freaking stomach.
Compared to being eaten, because I could not watch so she goes into the neighbor's house. So again, this is a scene that didn't happen in the game. So she goes into the neighbor's house because their dog is out, and the dog does not want to go back in the house. Okay, people, movie lesson number whatever. If the dog is growling at a person, like that is their person, like their owner, something's wrong. Do not go into that house.
So you're in criticize mode here now.
Hey. Hey, man. No, like, I know they had to do it for, to like build the tension, and she's just a dumb kid, and she cares about people.
Well,
she's empathetic.
Since we're criticizing,
this is Sarah, just to be clear, the daughter, not Ellie.
I feel like I would have been paying a little bit of attention to the news.
Yeah.
I mean, you see planes flying overhead, you hear all kinds of shit happening. Stuff's happening. They're aware of it, but they're not looking into it. I think that is the bit that I was a little
The thing you have to remember is that we have the benefit of watching so many like apocalyptic and zombie, like movies and shows and books that we are like expecting it kind of.
Well,
like,
we know what it is. Yeah. But You got planes flying real close overhead, and you can hear in the background the news saying like violent outbursts and
you know that your dad would want you to stay in the house and lock the door. I mean, if nothing else, because
maybe
he's
draw
out.
the curtains.
Yeah,
but of course they have the windows curtainless.
True. Yeah, but like they have to put you through that as the viewer to kind of build the tension and make you go, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't go in there." And also, she's empathetic, so she wants to go check on her neighbor. Like, why is the dog out? Why does the dog not want to go in the house? The dog breaks free of its collar because she's trying to take it back home. I'm just glad they didn't make anyone eat the dog.
Well, then she walks in, and she steps and kind of slides in a big ass puddle of blood.
Yeah.
Sees a guy who's been like eaten. His neck,
half of his neck is gone.
And he's like, "Help me!" I mean, you just walk out and call the cops. Like, what are you gonna do as a little girl?
Yeah.
Not to be sexist, but what the hell are you gonna do?
Yeah, she's little. She's physically little.
She's very
little.
thin.
Yeah.
Like, there's no muscle on her.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's like 12, 13, maybe 14.
Yeah, well, pack on some muscle.
Then the camera pans with her view, and she sees old dementia lady, previously vegetable lady, now fungi lady, chomping on the help, who's also an older lady, but,
that was the help? I thought that was like her daughter or something.
No, I think it was the lady who, I assumed, but again, I held my hand up over my eyes. I assumed it was the lady who was baking cookies earlier. I thought it was, maybe it was the daughter, but I thought it was
I assumed they were all family, but
I don't know why I thought she was just like hired help.
It was pretty gross how her little mouth looked.
Yeah. Like she's slowly and quietly chomping away at the lady's neck and then slowly lifts up her head. And I'm like, I know I can't. I'm going to be retching.
She got tendrils. She got little shrimp looking tendrils sticking out of her mouth.
Begging you. That was what that hand motion was.
Did you not see it?
No, I put my hand up because I could imagine.
You put your hand up?
That for that one part.
Oh my god.
It's too much. It's too much.
Okay.
See, you put your hands up for like jump scare haunting stuff, and I can't handle the gore.
I don't think I put my hands up at all for this one.
No, because I knew I was gonna start heaving.
Really?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
So her mouth looked like a barnacle. You know how like barnacles have the little like flicky feathery things that catch, what do you call it, like little bits of stuff
like
in the ocean?
And stuff?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So she had like a bunch of those in her mouth. It was pretty gross looking.
From eating stuff, or because the fungi was making her like...
I guess the fungi was making...
So it was part of her mouth?
Was making her eat.
Fungus among us?
Yeah.
Like, so it was like a part of her mouth? It wasn't like...
You should watch it.
I can't. I can't. I literally can't. I'll just be barfing.
Cool.
Anyway, that was really gross. But... yeah, I don't know. I was fine with the fact that they added that, even though it was a little bit like you don't think you just walk in there in the dark with the door open and there's a dog out and about. Like, even if you just thought it was like a burglar.
You'd run and call the cops. I think anybody with any sense would see a big ass puddle of blood, and you see the source of that blood, and then you fucking run out and call somebody. What are you gonna be able to do as a child?
And that old lady was moving fast. Like these are fast zombies. These are not like slow shambling zombies,
no, they're booking it.
They leap, they parkour. It's bad news.
Parkour. Parkour.
What are you doing?
Trying to make...
You're trying to do the Foley for it?
Yeah, I'm trying to make some clumping and thumb.
That was good. Anything else you want to... I'm looking forward to the ones that really have stuff blooming out of them.
Are you?
Well...
Are you going to be barfing?
I don't... Because it's not human, like, entrails and, like...
We're going to be watching this in the weeks in the future. And I'm going to be watching through my hands. And she's going to be over there.
It's the noises, the eating noises, and I almost said the gruel, the gore. And just... Because I can just...
There wasn't even really...
I can't. I
guess there was blood on her mouth, but it was like...
Yeah, there was. Like, because I saw a little, because I was like, okay, they're almost done. No. But I think the fungi, like, so they years later with Tess, they find a body that's like glued to the wall with the fungus that has like exploded out of this person's body. I'm kind of looking forward to that because I just think it's interesting.
It felt a little like that science.
It's not human material.
It felt a little like that sci-fi show with the fungus that like glows, and it's got Fedora guy in it.
Man, I am
Fedora cop.
Oh yeah, Expanse. The Expanse.
Yeah, the Expanse.
That's
felt a little like that. Wasn't she like glued to a tub or something?
Show. Yeah, she was in the shower.
Yeah.
I think in the book it's like brown, like dried blood, but they made it like
all
glowy, which I understand why they did that.
It had a better sci-fi look instead of like just gritty, like gruesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fungus thing, I don't know what's scarier, the fungus aspect of this kind of epidemic or like a viral bacterial. I guess it doesn't matter. It's just the fact that it makes you not yourself, and yeah.
The fungus part's creepy, I think, because you have like spores and stuff, and it looks like there's different types of fungus that are taking over people because they all look kind of different, right?
I think it's the same strain or species, but it's just the progression is different.
And it takes over people's bodies in different ways.
Well, then they also have like don't they have like boomers or something that
kind of like big ones?
Big ones, and I don't remember if they explain how that happens. It's just I just love it.
It's funny how you know about boomers.
Is it?
Yeah. How do you know about boomers? Because that's a Left 4 Dead.
I thought they had that in The Last of Us. Remember when they're in like a gymnasium or something? They're trying to get.
Yeah, that was a big chungus.
I thought they called him a boomer. Maybe not.
I don't remember.
I might be thinking of whatever game you just said.
I know I've said boomers before for zombies that blow up. But I don't think you and I have ever played Left 4 Dead together.
Well, and I think the one I'm thinking of doesn't actually blow up. I think he throws things at you.
Yeah, he does. But and then there's a bunch of little annoying scrabblers scrabbling around after you.
Yeah, and the clickers. Mm-hmm. Those are probably actually the scariest in terms
any kind of stealth shit. I hate stealth in video games. I think that's why I don't really want to play it.
It's very tension building. Yeah.
It just, because you're sneaking, because you're supposed to keep your cool, and then when shit hits the fan, you gotta kick it into overdrive. I don't like that switch in energy you have to have. Mm-hmm. I like either going in full force or just like one or the other, you know? Mm-hmm. It's too much on the nervous system.
You're right. I think that makes sense for you though, especially because like kind of the way you wake up in the morning and the way you get into the day is like, don't wake you up with like, we got to do this thing or here's this thing that happened. It's like you are going to be in a bad mood for the whole day. Like anyone would, but I think you're a little more sensitive to that. Like you need a little time to like adjust to the pace of the day, you know? But I think that's also just the stealth thing in games. It's like, it's just nice.
Sorry.
It just builds the tension for sure. Like the stakes are higher or something.
Yeah.
And
you feel like an idiot when you're caught.
Do you?
Yeah. Don't you?
It's just a game.
When you're sneaking around and it's like you like step on something.
Yeah.
Or like watching Mark. Mm-hmm. Like when he would throw a bottle or something and hit like a drawer right in front of him.
Yeah.
Or something that is stupid. Funny.
Or there's one time where he, like in Alien Isolation, he steps on the creature's tail. Like turns around and kills him because it's got this long ass tail. Uh-huh. It's Tina's pail.
The Tina's pail.
Yeah.
Well, I remember one time he threw
a flashbang or something.
He threw a decoy thing.
Yeah.
And it like hit a wall next to him and just landed basically at his feet.
Yeah. It's like it's like if you threw I think it hits like a light fixture or something and it just comes back and he's like, oh
shit.
And like when we watched that, you're like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he kind of doesn't learn about throws because he'll keep doing it. Or maybe I'm thinking of Aaron from Game Grumps.
That's probably more likely because I think Mark does learn, just sometimes he does make stupid mistakes, but it's kind of forgivable. Yeah. But yeah, I think the clickers, what is scary about these kind of stories or shows is like you're already dealing with this horrifying thing and then the characters learn how to adjust to that. And then you meet a thing that operates slightly differently, like a clicker, where you don't just have to outrun it or like sneak, like you have to extra sneak. until you're very far away from it, you know, because it uses sound instead
And
of
it's not
just
like
sight.
the other zombies because it kills you immediately.
Does it?
I think clickers are a one-hit kill.
Oh,
They
okay.
grab you, they bite you, and you're
Okay.
dead. Whereas the other zombies, I think they can like nibble you a little bit.
In the game, not like in real. Okay, not in real life,
Not
but
in real life.
in
I wonder
TV
how they're
real
gonna
life.
do that because Joel can't get bitten at all.
Yeah.
Or the movie or the show. I mean, the show doesn't
Right.
make any sense.
I'm sure he won't get bitten. I mean, he's not immune. So.
Whereas in the game, you can get bit and
Yeah.
be okay.
I'm sure they've like thought of that stuff. I mean, because
Well, yeah, they
you can
have
get
to.
bit a million times and start over, and you can't do that in this because it's
No, I'm saying by the normal zombies, you can get bit a little bit and it's fine.
right.
I'm not talking about dying and then restart the game.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm
just
sure
clarifying.
Okay. I'm just pretty sure they're not going to have him get bitten.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Just want to be clear.
Otherwise, that would be it would
Game
kind of
over.
flaw the show a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so he can get bit too? Oh,
Right.
he's immune as well?
Yeah.
Cool.
No, you just restart. Just back it up 10 seconds and play it again. Like a choose your own ending.
What?
I don't know. Anyway, I was going to say something else.
What were you going to say?
I don't know. Oh, I never finished watching The Last of Us 2 because I got very upset with what happened. I won't talk about it just in case you
I
haven't
don't
watched
remember what happened.
But if anyone has watched the playthrough and you thought it was as good as the first one or good enough that would warrant a full watch, let me know. If you think just give it a miss, then I will, because they're older, the characters are older, it's a little bit different story. You just you're not maybe as invested as you were with the first.
And if you like a particular Let's Play channel that plays it, let us know.
Yeah, we're always looking for new channels to watch. Some of our favorite people just don't come out with enough new stuff quickly, or it's they might diversify their stuff and we're not into other stuff. I really liked watching them play Mark and Jack play the Charlie the Choo Choo.
Oh, I don't think I saw that one.
It's weird but it's kind of scary. I don't remember how old it is, but it's just fun. I think I just like train yard type stuff, like kind of old west feel train yards. And even though it's really weird and it's like a train monster sentient thing, I liked it. I really just watch it while I'm working, so I'm really just mostly listening. But there's times where I'm like, oh, I gotta see what's going on here,
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that.
We'll
But
have to check it out while I'm working one day.
I like long playthroughs because they're just like you can watch them like a show, and depending on who's playing, they can do really good commentary. So I'm glad you introduced me to that. Some people I was trying to explain to someone today on a
Let's
call
Plays?
about Let's Plays, and when I say it to someone who doesn't watch them, it
just
sounds
dumb.
really stupid.
Oh, you're watching somebody play video games? How
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
It's like you don't
But I
know,
always
though.
loved watching people play video games. I'm sure I've talked about it when my ex used to play Red Dead Redemption, when Katie used to play Spyro, and I always want to call him Firefox. What's a fox? Crash Bandicoot.
I don't think he's a fox.
I always think he's a fox. He looks like a fox.
Is he a bandicoot? Is that what they're called?
I think
he's
we've
some
done
ki-
this every time.
He's not a fox. He's an animal of
He
some
looks like
other
a
sort.
fox. All right. Well, I'm gonna call him a fox
Because I was
he's
thinking you
orange
were
and
talking about Star Fox.
pointy. I don't know who that is. Okay, the Bandicoot guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, my sister used to play, and I kind of wanted to play, but I really just liked watching her play. And I'd be like, "So what is that? What is that mask guy? The tiki mask guy?
Yeah.
And then I like watching when you play. Sometimes you get mad though.
I have anger issues.
I do like watching your channel though.
Oh, thanks.
A lot. BM Games, BM Cartoons.
Wow, plugging me again.
Yeah, you're worth it.
Thanks.
All right, that's about all I have to say. Watch the show. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you agree. I think this will be the best video game adaptation to date, which isn't really hard because a lot of them suck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it'd be cool if there were a lot out there because they can just be really good.
I agree. I'm definitely excited for the next episode.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure going in. I was thinking, it might be okay, but
The buzz around it seemed good, and by people who know what game fans want,
it was good quality. It
was
felt
really good.
like
I could go right now and watch it again. I might, because I have to wait a week for the next one. Fuck.
it felt like better than Walking Dead quality.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You're saying, yeah, absolutely?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Walking Dead, I mean, it was really good in the beginning.
That's what I meant.
I
I'm
think
not
if
talking
you,
about now with like the tiger guy and all the weird kind of like you would not keep a tiger in zombie times. Yeah. They
yeah,
eat so much fucking meat and
yeah, you
also
can't feed them zombie meat, right?
I would imagine not. It's rotten meat. I doubt it would eat it. It would be starved.
Well, I think the thing with The Last of Us is it's not like a series that they're just going to try to, I think, milk the crap out of and take till indefinitely. I mean, I think this is like we're finally at the last season of The Walking Dead. I think maybe the season we're in, they said it was going to be the final season or something.
Whew, it's been a long road. Because that
But
show started out great.
It did start out great. I still think the quality of The Last of Us is more like movie quality. Like the budget, I think, is there.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have this great story to start. Obviously, I'm biased because I like watching the game, but there were too many characters, and if they all weren't stellar, it brought the show down.
Well, and it would cut off to them.
Yeah.
So like you'd be off dealing with these other characters for a long amount of time, and then you cut back to so and cut back to the other people, and yeah, you're right.
I don't mind
it
that.
Was
if
a little too much
if they're all good, but then you have characters like Andrea, who I just was like, just kill her now.
I personally prefer a little bit more of like a centralized type show where you have a little like group of characters, and that is the focus. You aren't off dealing with these people like that. Who was that woman who was abused by her husband?
Oh, Carol?
I think maybe.
Yeah.
God, she was annoying. But then she like became a badass later on, which was cool. But man, she was so freaking annoying.
Well, and even Rick's wife, like the back and forth and like kind of emotional manipulation. And then
the decision making that is flawed, that gets them into trouble, the very convenient trouble, is just irritating for me to watch.
I feel like you're not going to have that as much. You have to have that to a certain degree, but I feel like in this show, it's minimal.
I don't know that you do. So another spoiler for a different movie actually, that you probably have already seen, Dune. So freaking Dune, so there's sandworms. And there is this walk that they do to avoid getting grabbed by the sandworms. So the main character and his mother are walking through the desert, through sandworm territory, doing this silly, stupid-ass walk. And then they stop and they like body slam their freaking bags on the sand. And
they just let them drop, but
they let them drop like hard. you morons have been walking in a very cautious manner, very deliberately.
Expending calories because it's hard.
Exactly.
It's like they were ice skating on the sand.
Yeah. And then you just plop your bags off like a couple of fucking numbnuts? What the hell is wrong with you? Between the two of them, neither of them had the sense to say, maybe don't do that. Maybe
I don't know why the director wouldn't say, for continuity, you guys, because it does make sense that you'd be tiptoeing across this fucking desert, or the version of that you have to do. You'd set your bags down quietly.
And if it's about bringing a sandworm, have the mother collapse because she's fucking pregnant. She would be exhausted. Have her collapse and hit the sand, and that's what draws the worm. Don't have them nonchalantly throw their bags on the ground to draw the worm in.
It doesn't make sense for these highly intelligent characters to like not be thinking of the danger of the worm at every moment.
Especially since they've been doing this dumbass walk for the past however many miles.
You've just
burned
everything that
It would be burned into your brain. Sandworms are here. This is why we're doing this stupid ass walk. And then just stop and throw your bags? It made me so angry.
I know. It's kind of weird. No, it was stupid.
It's weird that it made me angry.
No,
it's weird.
Your level of anger is a little bit much for stuff like that, but it does sort of take you out of the show. Like no one would do that.
Nobody.
And
they are supposed to be very intelligent people.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to believe these morons are geniuses as they're plopping their bags down just without
like
a fucking
big bags,
care.
like not just like a little pouch or something, like a big like duffel. the equivalent of a duffel bag full of stuff, full of heavy gear.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them about the part that made you laugh when they were talking about worm sign?
Oh yeah, worm sign. Yeah, the SpongeBob.
So they are in the
episode reference
in the beginning of
references.
Yeah,
Dune,
that's
of course.
So
worm sign.
They're like flying around in the ornithopters or whatever they're called, and they're looking for worm sign. And Brandon goes, "She said it. She said worm sign." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "It's from SpongeBob. What kind of bullworm?
The Alaskan bullworm.
And then I said, "Oh, okay. I bet that was a reference." And he's like, "You think they're referencing SpongeBob?"
Yeah, I got twisted. Well, I knew it. I knew they had written it. I knew they had written Dune before that SpongeBob episode.
I didn't think you did, because that's why I was like, no, the book was written like in the 80s or something.
No, I knew that.
Okay.
I wasn't even thinking. I just heard them say worm sign and was like, what the hell?
That's a SpongeBob thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it, because I didn't know that was. I'm just so happy that they made that reference in
So
SpongeBob.
if you guys haven't seen it, there's an Alaskan bullworm terrorizing Bikini Bottom, and Sandy goes tracking it.
She's a tracker.
Because I guess I think it like bit off her tail or something.
Oh.
So she's tracking it, and she like scoops up something in the sand. And she's like, worm sign. And it cuts to her hand, and it's a tiny little like picket sign with the word worm written on it.
Genius.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
I think that is great. I'm glad to know that there's sci-fi nerds working on that show. It makes sense. And they would put that reference in.
Yeah.
So anyway, we kind of meandered a bit, but you guys should watch. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying this, we do this sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, watch the show. Tell us what you think. And I hope you love it as much as we do. Are you struggling?
No.
Oh, I thought you were.
And if you haven't seen it, or you can't get HBO, check out on YouTube one of the Let's Players playing it. It's pretty cool. The gameplay is fun to watch, and the story is fun to watch.
I think what's fun to watch about the show is you're seeing like these actors that maybe like bring it to life. It just maybe adds like another kind of dimension to it. But the gameplay, it's so good. It's such a great story. Like you could enjoy it almost as much. The thing is, you don't have to watch a gamer like maybe get stuck in a spot and die over and over.
Yeah,
you don't have to watch that in the show.
Fast forward and not really, lose much.
Yeah, true. So, hope you enjoy the show.
You enjoy the show we weren't involved with making.
I hope you enjoyed it as much as we do, because I've been waiting for it for a while, and I'm just so happy that they made it good.
Yeah. I'm more excited now for it.
Good.
Because I was a little like...
I was a little sad when you were like, maybe while you're watching that, I'll do this. And I was like, wait, what? I thought, yeah.
Well, I think, like you said, adaptations, my hopes weren't high.
Yeah. I tentatively got my hopes high because I was just hearing good buzz about it. And they seemed to be very aware of the burden, of the responsibility, the great responsibility. And they took it seriously. And I want to write them a love letter, because I'm so happy.
Okay.
Platonic love.
Yeah.
But very strong love.
Yeah, she's clenching her fist.
Like a politician or something.
Yeah, with a thumb.
Yeah.
With the little tiny thumbs up.
Anyway. All right. Well, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Right, Brandon? Okay, maybe we should do a better outro.
Yeah, okay.
You want to do it? Because you were yawning and I was making fun of you, and then it was awkward.
I was yawning?
You were stifling the yawn.
Oh, I guess I was.